Chosen one, listen closely. Heaven has paused for you. The noise of the world, the confusion, the rush, none of it matters right now, because at this very moment, something eternal is unfolding. You made a choice that caught the attention of angels. They saw it. They were stunned, and they whispered among themselves, "Did you see that one? You chose obedience when rebellion looked easier. You chose faith when fear felt safer." Heaven had seen many prayers before, but not like yours. It wasn't polished or perfect, it was honest, born from the ashes of your pain. When you lifted your voice and said, "God, I still trust you," every watcher in heaven stopped. That sound, your surrender, was like thunder rolling through eternity. It wasn't loud on earth, but in the spirit. It was deafening. You may not realize it yet, but your decision has altered the atmosphere. You realigned something unseen. The angels were assigned to protect, to record, to guard, and when you chose light, they moved in formation. You made a choice that rewrote your story and silenced the accusations of the enemy. You didn't have to prove yourself, you only had to believe. And in that single heartbeat of surrender, light broke through centuries of darkness, shifting destinies unseen. And the heavens rejoiced over a victory born in quiet human courage. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14, "For many are called, but few are chosen." That verse is not a sentence, it's a seal. It marks those who dare to say yes when others run. You were called long ago, but your yes today made you chosen. Every time you resisted the urge to give up, heaven took note. Every moment you stood in silence while others mocked your faith, the heavens recorded your patience. You were tested not because you were weak, but because you were marked. The pressure was proof of purpose. And though you wondered if heaven was silent, the truth is that heaven was watching intently. Breathlessly, reverently, you stood in a place that many could not endure. The pain was heavy, the loneliness sharper than a blade. Yet you stayed. You kept walking. You kept believing. And that is why angels were shocked, not because you survived, but because you worshipped while breaking. They had seen humanity stumble countless times, but they had not seen one like you, one who, though wounded, still whispered, "Thy will be done." This is why you are hearing these words now. It's not coincidence, it's divine timing. Heaven is confirming what your spirit already knows: you were chosen. Your story is being written in fire, not ink. Your yes is echoing beyond the limits of time. So, hear this: your obedience has weight, your faith has frequency, and your tears have been counted. Every single one. You have not been unseen, you have been observed with holy awe. If you feel this message burning in your soul right now, don't keep it hidden. Like this message, share it with someone who needs to remember that they, too, are not forgotten. Leave a comment below with the number 777, a prophetic sign of divine completion, and subscribe so you never miss the words heaven is still sending to its chosen ones. Your choice was not small. Heaven saw it. The angels stood in silence. And the moment you said yes, eternity moved. The battle for your soul did not begin when life grew hard. It began the moment you were chosen. From the day light marked you, darkness marked you too. The angels saw it long before you did. An invisible line was drawn between what sought to destroy you and what was destined to protect you. You have felt this war in your spirit, haven't you? The sudden heaviness that comes for no reason, the unseen resistance that rises whenever you move toward purpose. That was never coincidence. That was warfare. There are forces that study you, tracing your patterns, waiting for exhaustion to make you doubt the one who called you. And yet, each time they surrounded you, something stronger stood between. You were never fighting alone. Behind the curtain of what your eyes could see, legions of angels took their places. Heaven had invested too much in you to lose you now. You didn't realize how violent the fight was because mercy covered your eyes. You were spared from seeing how close darkness came. Every sleepless night, every moment of despair, every whisper that told you to give up, those were not just emotions. They were weapons. But still you stood. You rose again when logic said you shouldn't. You prayed again when faith felt faint. You breathed through nights that should have broken you. That was victory. This battle was not for your possessions or your reputation. It was for your identity, your knowing of who you are in Him. If the enemy could confuse that, he could make you trade your crown for comfort. But you didn't. You refused to forget that even when the world collapsed, heaven still had a plan. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Those are not poetic words. They are your reality. You are a soldier in an invisible war. One fought not with swords, but with surrender. There were moments you thought you were losing. You looked at the fragments of your plans and thought, "I failed." But heaven saw something different. Heaven saw a warrior bleeding but unbowed. Heaven saw a spirit that refused to let go of hope. Even your weakest prayer became a sword. Even your tears became a declaration of resistance. Every time you whispered His name, light pierced through shadows that had reigned for generations. You have endured what others could not. You have walked through storms that would have swallowed ordinary souls. Yet here you are, still breathing, still believing, still chosen. That alone terrifies the enemy, because every time you rise from ashes, the kingdom of darkness loses ground. The angels have watched this war unfold like a sacred drama. They have seen demons flee at the sound of your worship. They have seen strongholds tremble when you simply refuse to quit. They stand in awe of your endurance because they understand something you are still learning, that God fights through you. His power is not distant, it pulses within your persistence. So, when you feel the weight pressing again, remember, this is not punishment. It's proof that you are carrying light too strong for hell to ignore. And when you stand again, not by your own strength, but by the breath of the Almighty, know this: the battle was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal what heaven already knew. You are a force of divine resilience, wrapped in human skin. Before the storm broke over your life, there was a whisper. You may not remember it clearly, but your spirit felt it, a soft stirring, a holy hesitation. Heaven had tried to warn you, not to scare you, but to prepare you. The voice was not loud, not thunderous, not wrapped in fire or wind. It was gentle, hidden, but powerful enough to shift everything. The angels leaned close then. because they knew that what came next would test the foundation of your faith. You sensed something, didn't you? That uneasy calm before everything changed. You felt the pull in your heart. That quiet instruction to wait, to pause, to trust. Yet the world around you urged the opposite. Move faster, push harder, fix it yourself. But heaven whispered, be still. And when you ignored that voice, chaos followed. When you heeded it, peace arrived without explanation. The Spirit spoke through the prophet recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the fire, a still small voice. That same voice speaks to you even now. It does not demand attention. It invites it. It will never shout over your fear. It will speak into it. That is the language of heaven, quiet power. The angels were watching as you learned to recognize that whisper. They saw your confusion, your struggle to discern what was divine and what was distraction. But they also saw the moment your heart began to recognize the sound of your shepherd. The noise of the world couldn't compete with it anymore. You began to turn your ear not toward panic, but toward peace. And that shift, though unseen, was the beginning of your transformation. Heaven doesn't always warn through earthquakes or flames. Sometimes it warns through delay. Sometimes the divine whisper says, wait, not to punish you, but to position you. The storm you feared was sometimes protection wearing disguise. The opportunity that closed was mercy dressed as rejection. And the silence you thought meant abandonment was actually preparation. Chosen one. The whisper you hear is sacred. When the world shouts opinions, learn to lean into that quiet inner knowing. It is the echo of heaven guiding you step by step, breath by breath. Every time you pause long enough to listen, angels breathe in relief. They know obedience is forming. They know destiny is aligning. Many lose the battle not because they lack faith, but because they cannot endure silence. You, however, are learning its rhythm. You are learning that silence is not absence, it's intimacy. Heaven whispers because it's close. It does not need to shout when it's sitting right beside you. When you obey that still small voice, storms lose their power. The enemy cannot manipulate what listens directly to God. And that's what terrifies darkness about you. You are beginning to hear clearly. You are learning when to move, when to wait, when to speak, and when to stay silent. That kind of discernment is dangerous to hell. The angels, who once fought battles with swords, now stand amazed at your weapon of stillness. They marvel that a human heart could listen so intently that even fear is silenced. Heaven calls that victory. So if this message stirs something inside you, pause, let it sink deep. Then type below, I hear you. Those 3 words are not a ritual, they are a response. When you write them, you're declaring that your spirit is tuned to heaven's frequency. You're saying, I recognize the whisper, and I choose to obey. It's your way of telling heaven, speak, for your servant is listening. Hold on to that stillness, because the same whisper that warned you before will soon guide you into promises you thought were lost. Listen carefully. The next instruction will not come through thunder. It will come through peace. The cost of obedience has never been light. Chosen one. It has always demanded more than comfort could afford. When heaven calls your name, it does not invite you into ease, it invites you into purpose. And purpose, though radiant, is often paved with pain. The angels know this. They watched you count the cost in silence, wrestling with the weight of surrender. They saw you choose obedience when every part of your flesh screamed for escape. The world did not understand what you were doing. To them, it looked like loss. They thought you were giving up opportunities, relationships, and moments that defined success. But heaven saw it differently. What they called losing, heaven called aligning. You stood at a threshold where faith became more than a word. You faced choices that tore at your heart. Moments when the command of God seemed unfair. Yet, even when it cost you the approval of others, you chose His voice. That is what separates the called from the chosen. Many say yes when it benefits them. The chosen say yes when it breaks them. The prophet Samuel once revealed the heart of heaven in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22. To obey is better than sacrifice. The angels heard those words echo across time as you lived them out. Your obedience became the incense that filled heaven's courts. It was not the grand gestures that moved heaven, it was the quiet decision to stay faithful when no one saw. You didn't know it then, but your obedience became intercession. Each tear that fell became a prayer. Each time you bit your tongue instead of responding in anger. A victory was won in the unseen. Every time you forgave, even when you weren't asked to. You broke a curse that had lingered for generations. Obedience is not weakness, it is warfare. The angels took note of the days you obeyed in exhaustion, when you could barely breathe under the weight of expectation. They saw you surrender not out of fear, but out of love. Heaven is moved by that kind of faith, the kind that trusts without explanation, that follows when the path is invisible. You may wonder why obedience feels so heavy. It is because obedience builds altars, and altars always require something to die. In your obedience, something in you was laid down, your pride, your timing, your control, and from that surrender, glory rose. Every sacrifice you made became a seed, planted deep into eternity, destined to bear fruit in due season. There are blessings attached to obedience that delay cannot deny. The angels are already preparing what your surrender made possible. The doors that once resisted you are learning your name because obedience carries authority. You didn't obey to be seen, but heaven saw you anyway. You didn't obey for reward, yet the reward is coming. The cost was high, but the return is holy. Heaven invests heavily in the obedient because obedience sustains what miracles only start. The angels know this truth well. They witnessed Lucifer lose his place, not because he lacked power, but because he refused obedience. And now, they see in you the opposite spirit, the humble strength that says, "Not my will, but yours." Chosen one. Obedience is the rhythm of the redeemed. It may have cost you people, comfort, and control, but it secured something priceless, the favor of God that cannot be bought or imitated. What you lost was temporary, what you gained is eternal. And now, as heaven watches you stand faithful again, even after the fire, the angels whisper one word among themselves, worthy. When you said yes to obedience, something powerful happened in the unseen. The ground beneath you trembled, and realms far darker than you could imagine took notice. Hell itself paused. The adversary, who had counted on your collapse, suddenly found his plans undone. You see, chosen one. When a child of light makes a decision that aligns with heaven, it becomes an earthquake in hell's territory. The angels saw it the exact moment your yes left your lips. The vibrations reached beyond time. Darkness had been building traps, crafting cycles meant to exhaust you. Yet, when you obeyed, the enemy's grip shattered like fragile glass. He had studied your patterns, predicted your breaking point, and still you refused to surrender. You were not fighting for position, you were fighting for destiny. The instant your faith turned into action, the order of things shifted. Every lie spoken against you began to lose its power. Every demonic assignment attached to your bloodline lost permission to operate. You didn't even realize that your single act of trust became a decree, a declaration that heaven's authority still reigns through human vessels willing to believe. According to the letter of James, chapter 4, verse 7, submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. The angels heard that truth unfold in real time through your obedience. Submission became your shield, resistance became your roar. You didn't have to fight the devil directly, your surrender to God became warfare enough. Hell expected your silence. Instead, it heard your worship. It expected bitterness. It found forgiveness. It expected fear. It met faith. You broke the very rules darkness had written for your downfall. And when the powers of evil realized they could not touch what heaven had sealed, they fled. The angels rejoiced, for they knew what you didn't yet see. Your faith had rewritten the ending. The attacks may still echo, the shadows may still whisper, but the authority has changed hands. Your spirit now carries a sound that commands respect in both realms. You are no longer the wounded believer begging for survival. You are the warrior whose obedience terrifies hell. And maybe, as you hear this, your heart feels that holy fire stirring again. That's not emotion, that's recognition. Your spirit remembers what it means to stand in victory. You are not called to live in constant battle, but to walk in divine authority. The angels stand ready still, their wings poised over your next yes. Every time you rise again, they are reminded that grace is not just a word, it's a weapon. They know your obedience is contagious. It will awaken others who have forgotten their strength. So let this moment sink in. Heaven has already recorded your victory. Hell's reports have been rewritten. You stand as living proof that faith still wins. And if these words are stirring your soul, if they are lighting that forgotten fire within, let it be known. Take a second to like this message, not for vanity, but as a testimony that you are still standing. Share it with another warrior who might be in the middle of their own unseen war. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so that heaven's reminders can keep finding you when you forget who you are. These aren't just words, they are lifelines sent in divine timing. Because every time you return here, every time you choose to listen again, the light inside you strengthens. The angels remember your yes, hell remembers your resistance, and heaven remembers your name. There are moments in eternity when even angels are moved to tears. They are not creatures of sorrow, but beings of awe, and when they saw your endurance, they wept. They had witnessed humanity fall countless times before. They had seen faith grow cold, love fade, and promises break. But you, fragile, wounded, yet still reaching for light, became their astonishment. You stood where many had crumbled, and that sight made heaven tremble. You may never understand how closely they've watched you. Every night you cried quietly into your pillow, thinking no one saw. They were there. Every time you whispered a prayer with trembling lips, they leaned close, not because you were weak, but because your persistence reflected their Creator's strength. They saw something in you that reminded them of Him, pure faith. When you chose to keep believing despite the silence, you did more than endure. You worshipped. Worship is not always a song, it's a decision. And in your decision, heaven found melody. The angels who surround the throne, accustomed to unbroken glory, wept when they saw glory born from your pain. There is a verse that echoes this divine joy, found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 10. There is joy in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner that repenteth. That joy is not limited to repentance alone. It extends to every heart that chooses light when darkness calls louder. You brought joy to heaven. Chosen one, you made eternity rejoice. The angels' tears were not of pity but of reverence, for they, though clothed in light, have never known what it means to trust through pain. They have never bled, never broken, never doubted, but you made from dust, yet filled with divine breath, chose faith without sight. That kind of love, that kind of trust, humbles even celestial beings. Your story became a sermon to heaven itself. Angels speak of you in hushed wonder, saying, "This one believes without seeing." They marvel because they understand what's at stake. The enemy wanted to silence your hope, to convince you that faith was foolish. But you proved him wrong with every whispered prayer, every act of forgiveness, every moment you chose peace instead of revenge. They saw you pick up shattered dreams and keep walking. They saw you worship when the blessing didn't come. And in those moments, your faith outshone galaxies. You might feel small on earth, but in heaven's eyes, you are radiant. Chosen one. This is not flattery, it is revelation. You were made to remind heaven of the glory of grace. Angels may have wings, but they do not know redemption. They do not know the sweetness of being rescued. You do. And that makes your worship something they can never replicate. So tonight, if the weight of the world presses hard upon you, remember the tears of angels. Remember that your endurance is not unnoticed. You have turned your suffering into incense, rising before the throne as fragrance pure and powerful. If these words find you in that sacred place between breaking and believing, pause right here. Let heaven hear your agreement. Comment the number 888, a prophetic symbol of new beginnings, of resurrection and divine renewal. When you write it, you are declaring that the same God who saw you through will now raise you higher. Heaven watches still. Chosen one, the angels who once wept in awe now prepare to rejoice again. Because your story isn't over, it's about to unfold in glory. There are records in heaven that no human eyes have seen, scrolls sealed by fire, written not in ink but in light. These are the hidden archives of divine destiny, where every act of faith, every decision of obedience, is engraved for eternity. The angels guard these scrolls, for they are not mere records, they are the unfolding of God's eternal plan. And one of them, Chosen One, bears your name. When you chose to believe against the evidence, a hidden scroll opened. Heaven authorized a new chapter of your destiny. What was once delayed began to move. and what was once closed began to breathe. You didn't see it. But the moment you said yes, that sealed scroll glowed with holy fire. An angel stepped forward, touched it, and your name burned brighter than before. There is mystery in how heaven documents obedience. Every trial you've endured has been carefully recorded, not as punishment, but as proof. The heavens write differently than men do. They write in testimony, not in timeline. Your pain is not forgotten in their language. It becomes prophecy. Every tear becomes ink. Every breakthrough becomes a line. Every surrender becomes a seal. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 40, verse 7, Lo, I come in the volume of the book it is written of me. This is not poetry alone, it is divine reality. There is a book that holds your divine design. It is not written by human hand, but by divine intention. Heaven saw your purpose long before earth questioned your existence. The scroll of your destiny was not dormant, it was waiting for your agreement. There are things written about you that only obedience can unlock. And the moment you said yes to God's timing, the scroll began to unroll. The angels who guard it stepped back in awe, for they knew what was coming, prophetic fulfillment. You are walking now in words that were written before the world began. Your life has never been random. Every delay, every redirection, every closed door, it was choreography. Heaven was aligning your story with the divine script written for you. You were never behind. You were simply being positioned to arrive at the right line of your heavenly record. Sometimes, what feels like loss is the sound of heaven turning the page. You weep because you think something ended. But in truth, a new paragraph began. Heaven is not rewriting your story. It is revealing what was always written. The angels know this. They have read the scrolls. They've seen the promises attached to your obedience, the miracles assigned to your name, the nations connected to your faith. Even your seasons of silence were written there. The moments when God seemed far away, those were scripted pauses. Divine breath marks between sentences of destiny. They exist not to punish you, but to make what follows more powerful. Chosen one, you are not forgotten in the heavenly archive. There are sections of your scroll that even the angels are not permitted to see until the time is right. That is why some blessings have not yet arrived. They are sealed until your next yes unlocks them. You have not missed your calling. You have only begun to read it aloud through your choices. The heavens are listening as your life declares the text once hidden. Every act of faith, every moment of surrender, turns another page. And though the world may never know the story, heaven is writing through you. The angels already do. They stand in reverent silence as the author continues to write line by line, breath by breath, until your destiny glows with completion. There comes a point when all the noise fades, when even the loudest voices lose their power, and all that remains is silence. It is in that sacred stillness that heaven speaks most clearly. Chosen one, you have stood in that silence before. You've wondered if God was distant or if the heavens had gone quiet. Yet what you felt as absence was actually invitation. Silence was never punishment. It was the language of revelation. The angels watched as the world around you grew dim. As familiar things began to fall away, the distractions, the chaos, the endless noise, each one was stripped from you until only stillness remained. And though that silence felt like isolation, it was, in truth, intimacy. Heaven does not shout when it is close, it whispers. God's presence, when nearest, often hides in quiet. In those quiet hours, when no one called and no one came, you met something deeper than comfort. You met truth. You discovered that peace is not found in answers, but in awareness. You began to realize that you were never waiting for a word. The word was waiting for you. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 46, verse 10, "Be still, and know that I am God." These words are not a suggestion, but a summons. They are heaven's invitation to rest, to trust without evidence, to believe without noise. The angels have seen the power of this verse come alive in you. They have seen your storms quiet because you learned to stop striving. In the stillness, your vision changed. What you once called delay became design. What you once labeled as emptiness became preparation. The silence revealed who truly held your heart. When God strips away the noise, it's not to take from you, it's to return you to yourself. To the original you, He spoke before the world distracted you. The angels stood nearby as you learned this rhythm. They saw your restlessness turn to reverence. They saw you begin to listen not for signs, but for presence. And in that transformation, heaven rejoiced. Because when you learned to find God in the quiet, you became untouchable. The enemy cannot manipulate a heart anchored in stillness. Noise is his weapon: distraction, urgency, fear. But when you enter that divine silence, he loses access. That is why your quiet moments have been under such attack. The enemy fears your stillness more than your shouting, because in stillness, you hear strategies he cannot counter. The silence you've endured was never empty, it was filled with instruction. Every delay contained direction, every pause held promise. You are learning the art of divine pacing. Heaven doesn't rush, heaven aligns. And when you align with that rhythm, you begin to walk in supernatural peace. Chosen one. The voice in the silence was never gone. It waited for you to quiet your questions long enough to hear the answers already within you. The same spirit that hovered over creation now hovers within your soul, waiting to speak life where chaos once reigned. And now, that voice is stronger than before. It doesn't compete, it commands by peace. The angels lean close again, recognizing this sacred moment. You have entered a depth of communion that few ever reach to walk, not by noise, but by knowing. Not by striving, but by surrender. So when silence comes again, do not fear it. It is not the absence of God, it is the echo of His nearness. Every pause is an invitation to hear Him breathe. Every quiet moment, a reminder that heaven is closer than sound. Fire has always been heaven's test. It refines what words cannot and exposes what cannot endure. Chosen one, you have walked through such fire not once, but many times. You have felt the heat of trials meant to consume you. And yet, here you stand. The flames were real, but so was the faith that carried you. The angels watched as the fire surrounded you, expecting perhaps that you would crumble as others had, but they were astonished, because instead of breaking, you began to glow. You didn't realize it at first, but every time the flames rose, heaven's eyes turned toward you. The testing of your faith was never punishment, it was promotion in disguise. Fire comes not to destroy the chosen, but to reveal them. When the gold of your soul is purified, heaven sees its own reflection. That is what has been happening all along, God refining you until you shine with His likeness. It is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 2, "When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee." Those ancient words are not mere comfort, they are divine law. You were never meant to be consumed. You were meant to emerge radiant, carrying proof that faith can outlast flame. The angels witnessed what the fire revealed. They saw the impurities fall away, the fear, the doubt, the attachments that once held you hostage. They saw your heart begin to burn with holy focus. Fire took what was unnecessary, but it could not touch what was eternal. What survived the fire was not just faith, it was authority. You don't just believe anymore, you know. And that knowing terrifies darkness, because now, every time you pray, your words carry weight. You speak from the furnace, from experience, from refinement. You don't talk about faith, you embody it. The angels call that kind of strength tempered glory. It is the radiance of one who has suffered, yet still chooses light. Even when you cried out, "God, where are you?" heaven was not offended. Silence in the fire is not abandonment, it's observation. God does not shout over the flames. He waits until your spirit can hear him through them. And when you finally heard him, it was not with your ears, but with your soul. That whisper in the middle of the burning was not the end, it was the beginning of transformation. Chosen one. You have passed tests you didn't know you were taking. You have endured heat that others could not survive. The angels know it. Hell knows it too. The scars you carry are not signs of defeat. They are evidence of divine fire. They speak of battles won in silence, of faith refined beyond recognition. The next time flames rise again, remember this truth. The fire is not after your destruction, it's after your distinction. Gold only glitters after it's tested, and you, refined one, are glowing with purpose now. If this message finds you in your own furnace, let your spirit answer heaven. Type below, "I still burn." Those 3 words are more than a comment. They are a declaration. You're saying that no matter the season, the loss, or the pressure, your faith still burns bright. When you write it, heaven reads it as a vow. The angels mark it as agreement that the fire which once tried to consume you will now illuminate your path. So let the fire come. Let it purify, not petrify. You were made for the furnace, and the furnace was made to prove your light. Every chosen one reaches a point where heaven lays 2 paths before them, crown or chains, surrender or compromise. And you, chosen one, have stood there more than once. It's never an easy moment. The paths don't look like gold and dust, they look like obedience and comfort. One glows with promise but requires faith. The other feels safe but leads to stagnation. The angels remember the first time you stood at that crossroad, trembling but listening. And they remember the moment your heart leaned towards surrender. The world often calls that foolishness. They say, "Why give up what you can control?" They cannot see that you are trading temporary safety for eternal strength. Heaven, however, sees. Every time you choose the harder path, the one that costs more but honors God, the crown draws nearer. You might not see it yet, but the invisible crown forms with every obedient decision, every selfless act, every moment you choose truth over approval. The Spirit speaks clearly through the ancient writings of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. Choose you this day whom ye will serve. The angels watched you live out those words, not in temples or public declarations, but in private moments when no one was watching. Those were the moments that built your legacy. Obedience does not glitter. It rarely feels glorious. Often, it feels like losing. But heaven measures differently. What you surrendered became sacred currency in eternity. Every no to compromise was a yes to purpose. Every time you chose forgiveness instead of bitterness, you exchanged chains for the weight of a crown. And though you may not feel it, your spirit has grown tall under the pressure of choice. The angels marvel at how your light stretches beyond the limits of what you've endured. You are not the same person you once were. You've shed layers of fear, pride, and dependency. The chains that once held you no longer fit. The path of the crown is lonely. Yes, but it's luminous. It's the road where faith becomes sight and obedience turns into authority. You've learned that not everyone will understand your calling, and that's all right. The crown was never meant to fit many. It was designed for the few who dare to keep saying yes. You are one of them. You've been walking uphill, carrying decisions that others might never see. But the angels have seen. Heaven has recorded each one. And as you walk, the King himself prepares to place that unseen crown upon your head, not of gold or jewels, but of glory, endurance, and faithfulness. So when the road feels narrow and your steps feel small, remember this truth: the crown is closer than you think. You are not walking aimlessly. You are walking toward coronation. And if these words stir something deep inside you, if they remind you of why you keep going, let this be a quiet moment of gratitude. Like this message as a small act of agreement, a way of saying, yes, I choose my crown. Share it with someone standing at their own crossroad, someone who needs to be reminded that obedience is never wasted. And if you haven't already, subscribe so that when the next word from heaven comes, you will hear it right on time. These are not just messages, they are markers on your journey. Signs that heaven is guiding you, step by step. Your crown is not someday, it is forming even now. Every yes molds it. Every act of faith polishes it. Every refusal to compromise strengthens its weight. Keep walking. Chosen one. The path is hard, but the reward is holy. When heaven looks at your life, it doesn't see isolated moments. It sees ripples, waves that began with one act of faith and now move through time, touching things far beyond your sight. You may think your decision to obey was small, quiet, unnoticed, but in the unseen realm, that single act released a prophetic chain reaction. Heaven operates in echoes, and your obedience was one of them. The angels witnessed it. They saw how your yes set off movements in hearts you've never met. Somewhere, someone was strengthened because you didn't quit. Somewhere, a prayer was answered because you stayed faithful. The divine network is vast. Every obedient soul is connected. When you move in faith, heaven redirects history. The prophet Habakkuk understood this mystery. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Your life has become such a vision written, lived, and still unfolding. The angels have seen you become a living word, an epistle of endurance and testimony. Every ripple begins quietly. When you forgave, Heaven sent healing through your lineage. When you prayed instead of reacting, peace was multiplied in unseen spaces. When you trusted through tears, you unlocked doors for others who would walk your path later. Obedience is contagious. One light can awaken hundreds. That is what's happening now. The waves of your faith are moving. The angels speak of it among themselves, calling it the chain of light. Each chosen one's obedience sparks another's awakening. You may never meet them, but your spirit has touched theirs. A mother somewhere prays differently now because you kept believing. A lost son is returning home because your faith refused to die. Heaven counts these as victories, and they all trace back to one decision you made when no one was watching. You see, prophetic movement doesn't require platforms or stages. It begins in the hidden places. In the quiet yes that costs you comfort but births transformation. Every ripple carries heaven's fingerprint. Every unseen result becomes part of a divine masterpiece that only eternity will fully reveal. The angels know this rhythm well. They understand that God never wastes obedience. Even the smallest action aligned with His will creates motion across generations. What you do in faith becomes a seed of awakening for someone else's miracle. It may look ordinary now, but heaven calls it generational architecture. Your yes today will speak in someone else's tomorrow. Your endurance becomes their inheritance. The ripple of your faith travels through time like sound through air. It moves unseen but not unheard. Heaven has been amplifying it, carrying it into moments and places you will never visit in the flesh. That's why your consistency matters. The angels are still documenting the aftershocks of your decisions. They record not only what you've done, but what has been released through you. Every battle you've won privately has set captives free publicly in the Spirit. This is why the heavens honor the chosen ones so deeply. You are not just surviving, you are shaping history. Without realizing it, your endurance has become a prophetic act, a living sermon written across time. So, when weariness whispers that your efforts are unseen, remember this: heaven does not measure by applause, it measures by impact. The ripples of your obedience will continue long after you've left the battlefield. Generations will walk in freedom because you refused to bow. The angels will still speak of the day you said yes and set the world into motion. There are watchers in heaven, holy beings, assigned not just to guard, but to record. They are the chroniclers of divine history, the silent observers who write down every act of faith, every sacrifice unseen by human eyes. They move through realms beyond comprehension, holding quills of light, inscribing the moments when a chosen one proves faithful. And, chosen one, your name has filled their scrolls. They watched the day you chose forgiveness over fury, and they wrote it down. They witnessed the night you prayed for others while your own heart broke, and they recorded it in gold. They saw your battles, your tears, your determination to stand when everything around you fell apart. Not one moment escaped their gaze. Heaven misses nothing when it comes to the faithful. There is a scripture that unveils their task, found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. The angels who serve under that gaze document what they see. They are the eyes of eternity, capturing your story not for judgment, but for testimony. You are being written into heaven's record as proof that light still wins. Your life has become evidence in the courts of eternity, evidence that obedience is possible. that grace is enough, that love is stronger than fear. The watchers do not simply see your actions, they discern your motives. They know when your heart chooses purity, even in pain. When you give without recognition, when you stand alone but refuse to compromise. They marvel because the purity of your endurance reminds them of the glory they once saw before creation began. You have become, in their eyes, a living testament of divine consistency, and they, who have witnessed both rebellion and redemption, know how rare that is. Each choice you make ripples through their records. When you obey, your name glows brighter upon their scrolls. When you fall and rise again, another entry of grace is added. It's not a book of perfection, it's a book of perseverance. The watchers understand that your story is not about flawless obedience, but relentless faith. And because heaven's records are eternal, none of your pain has been wasted. The tears you thought disappeared were collected. The prayers you thought unanswered were catalogued. Even your seasons of silence were written down as sacred pauses. Chosen one, the watchers have never turned their gaze away. Even now, as you read these words, they are near quietly bearing witness, ensuring that your perseverance will never be forgotten. Every unseen battle, every act of kindness, every time you chose light recorded. And one day, those same records will testify in your favor when the heavens gather to celebrate your victory. This is why you must keep going. Heaven is still writing. The pen has not lifted. The ink has not dried. There are chapters left to unfold, victories left to record, and you are still the subject of heaven's script. So if this truth touches you, if it resonates in that deep part of your spirit that knows heaven has been watching and recording your every yes, then make a declaration that aligns with it. Comment below the number 555, a prophetic number representing divine grace and transition. When you write it, you are not just typing a number, you are agreeing with heaven's record that your story is still being written, and your transition into greater glory has begun. The watchers are still looking on, their hands are still moving, and heaven continues to write your obedience in eternal ink. Every victory in the spirit realm stirs retaliation from the enemy. Hell cannot touch what heaven has blessed, but it can attempt to weary the vessel that carries it. Chosen one, you have felt those counterattacks, the strange heaviness that follows a breakthrough, the sudden confusion after peace, the whispers of doubt right after revelation. These are not coincidences. They are the enemy's response to your progress. The angels saw it unfold. When your obedience disarmed darkness, new snares were woven in secret. Old wounds were poked. Old fears resurfaced. Old temptations returned in new disguises. The goal was not to destroy you outright, but to make you retreat. The adversary knows he cannot erase your destiny, but he hopes to distract you long enough for you to abandon it yourself. Yet, every time he strikes, something remarkable happens. He proves heaven's investment in you. The very presence of opposition is evidence of assignment. The angels call it the backlash of light. They understand that the brighter your spirit burns, the more shadows gather in protest. But they also know the outcome is already decided. It was written long ago in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Those words are not a fragile promise. They are an unbreakable decree. The angels have watched that decree defend you again and again. Like an unseen shield rising each time, darkness dares to approach. There were moments when the assault was fierce, when you questioned whether the storm would ever end. But even in that chaos, the watchers saw light surrounding you. You were never uncovered, never forsaken. Your prayers were not whispers into nothingness. They were commands that redirected the battlefield. Heaven moved every time you spoke in faith. The enemy is persistent, but his power is limited. He attacks through exhaustion, through confusion, through the illusion of distance. Yet you've begun to see through his tactics. Every delay that once discouraged you now reminds you that something sacred must be near. Every battle that repeats itself now confirms that there's a gate about to open. The angels have witnessed your transformation in warfare. You no longer fight to prove your strength, you fight from identity. You know who you are now. And that realization terrifies hell. The one thing darkness cannot manipulate is a believer who understands authority. That is why your awareness is dangerous. You've stopped pleading for survival and started standing in dominion. You've become the kind of warrior who doesn't need constant signs to keep believing. The fire you carry burns too steady for fear to smother. You are not untouched by pain, but you are unbroken by it. Each time the enemy strikes, you emerge sharper, wiser, steadier. The angels marvel, because this is what heaven always intended. A human spirit so fused with divine purpose that darkness can no longer interpret its strength. Now, when the enemy comes, heaven doesn't rush in panic. The angels stand calmly by, for they have seen this before. They know how it ends. Every snare becomes a step. Every curse turns into a crown. Every opposition becomes opportunity. Chosen one, you are proof that the enemy's rage is powerless against endurance. Let the storm rise. It will only clear the sky for your next victory. The watchers are still documenting, still standing guard, and their records will forever show this truth. The adversary tried, but faith triumphed, and you, marked by grace, remain unmoved. There are moments in the divine timeline when heaven performs what the angels call a transfer of mantles. It is not an exchange of titles or recognition, but of responsibility and power. It happens when a chosen one has been proven through obedience, fire, and faithfulness. You, chosen one, are standing in such a moment. The angels have seen this before, when Elijah passed his mantle to Elisha, when Moses laid hands on Joshua, when David's anointing shifted from promise to throne. Every transfer is sacred, marked by invisible ceremony. The heavens gather, witnesses assemble, and God breathes new authority into a vessel prepared by trial. It is happening again, and this time, it is you. You didn't ask for it. You didn't seek the spotlight. But heaven has seen your consistency, your surrender, your unwavering heart. Every yes you whispered in pain prepared you for this weight. The mantle is not given to the talented, it is entrusted to the trustworthy. You have become that. The angels saw when you stood faithful in obscurity, and they knew what was coming next. It is written in the second book of Kings, chapter 2, verse 13, "And he took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him." That verse echoes through eternity every time a new generation rises. The angels hear it as the sound of continuity, the proof that God's purpose never dies, only passes. Now, as the mantle descends, everything about your spiritual atmosphere shifts. The tests that once broke you now feel like training. The wounds that once embarrassed you now carry wisdom. The silence that once frightened you now speaks instruction. You have crossed from surviving to leading. Heaven recognizes that you can now carry not only your purpose, but the weight of others who will follow. The angels move differently around you now. They form ranks, not merely to protect, but to assist. They know your prayers have changed tone. You no longer cry for rescue, you intercede for regions. The fire that once purified you now burns for nations, families, destinies yet unborn. You may not feel the mantle at first. It rarely arrives with spectacle. Often it feels like burden before it feels like blessing. Suddenly, you will sense a new heaviness in prayer, a stirring of compassion that won't let you sleep, a deep awareness of responsibility. That is how heaven signals a shift. What once hurt you now fuels you. The mantle doesn't erase your humanity, it sanctifies it. It does not make you more visible, it makes you more accountable. The angels understand this weight, and they move in reverent silence as it settles upon you. They know the gravity of what heaven has placed in your hands, a continuation of divine assignment that will outlive you. You will notice your words carrying more weight, your presence shifting atmospheres, your discernment sharpening. The mantle increases not your status, but your sensitivity. The cost of this calling is high, but the reward is intimacy with heaven itself. Chosen one. Understand this, mantles are not rewards, they are responsibilities. You have been found faithful in private, and now heaven trusts you with influence in the spirit. The angels are witnesses to this exchange. They saw the moment the old mantle fell, and they see now as you reach down to pick it up. Trembling but willing, you have stepped into divine succession. The story does not end with you, it continues through you. The same power that once moved through prophets and deliverers now rests quietly upon your shoulders, waiting for your next yes. Something has shifted in the atmosphere. Chosen one. The light within you has grown too strong to remain hidden. What once felt like isolation is now revelation, because others are beginning to feel what you carry. Across the earth, in places you'll never walk, other chosen ones are awakening. They are being drawn by the same divine frequency that flows through your obedience. Heaven calls this sacred moment the gathering of light. The angels saw it begin as a tremor in the spirit, a pulse of radiance released when you chose to stay faithful. One light became two, two became 10, and soon, waves of illumination began sweeping across the darkness. You were never meant to shine alone. The same fire that refined you is now igniting others. It is written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on an hill cannot be hid." That scripture has never been more alive than it is in you right now. You are no longer just surviving, you are shining. Your story, your scars, your transformation, they've become beacons for others who are still finding their way out of the night. The angels stand in awe as the scattered ones begin to find each other. They see prayers crossing oceans, faith connecting strangers, hearts uniting in unseen harmony. What once felt like loneliness was preparation for leadership. You were being trained to carry a frequency heaven could multiply. The gathering of light is not a movement, it's a manifestation. It happens when the faithful stop competing and start connecting. when purpose replaces pride. When voices merge into one declaration, God still reigns. And your endurance, your journey, has become part of its foundation. Heaven moves through connection. The enemy divides, God unites. And when chosen souls begin to unite in purpose, their combined faith becomes an unstoppable force. The angels see it forming a network of radiant ones, positioned in every corner of the earth, carrying light into systems, families, cities, and nations. Each one of them is a reflection of the same fire you've carried through your trials. You have become a torchbearer, a signal to those still hidden. Your resilience whispers to them that it's possible to rise again. Your obedience teaches them that surrender is strength. And even your pain, once private, now carries healing for those who read your story or hear your voice. The angels understand the magnitude of what's unfolding. They are moving among you, weaving divine connections, arranging encounters that appear accidental but are heavenly orchestrated. You are being aligned with other carriers of glory, those who share your burden and your fire. Together, you form the living constellation of heaven's light upon the earth. And if these words reach deep into your spirit, if you can feel that same resonance stirring, pause for a moment. Acknowledge it. This is heaven confirming that you are part of something far greater than yourself. Like this message as a simple act of agreement, a quiet way of saying, I am part of the light. Share it with someone whose flame is fading, someone who needs to remember that they were never meant to burn alone. And if you haven't already, subscribe so that when the next message comes, you'll be ready, connected, and strengthened among your tribe of light bearers. Then, right below these words, we rise together, not as a slogan, but as a declaration. Because heaven is not looking for isolated flames, it's calling for wildfires. And through you, through all who respond, that fire is spreading now. The gathering has begun. You are part of it. Shine without apology. There are moments in eternity when revelation pierces through the veil, when understanding finally meets the soul, and heaven unveils what the journey was always about. You've reached that moment now. Chosen one, this is the revelation of glory, the unveiling of why the angels watched you, why the fire was permitted, and why your choices shook eternity. From the very beginning, heaven knew that your story would not be about survival, it would be about restoration. You were never chosen merely to endure. You were chosen to redeem what was lost, to stand in the gap where others had fallen, to restore light where shadows once ruled. The angels, who have witnessed millennia of history, saw something unfold in you that had not been seen since the dawn of creation, a human soul reflecting the unbroken glory of God through suffering. They saw it happen gradually. At first, you stumbled, questioning every trial. You cried out, wondering if the pain had purpose. But with every tear, glory took form. With every act of surrender, your spirit grew in radiance. The angels whispered among themselves, for they knew what they were seeing, the divine image being restored in human form. You became the living echo of redemption itself. The Apostle Paul once wrote in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, "For the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us." These words, ancient yet alive, describe exactly what the angels now behold in you. The suffering was real. yes, but it was also sacred. It carved space within you, large enough for glory to dwell. Heaven's revelation is rarely sudden, it builds slowly, like dawn rising after a long night. You've begun to see glimpses of why the journey had to unfold this way. The betrayals were not just wounds, they were pruning. The silence was not abandonment, it was alignment. The pain was not punishment, it was preparation. Every loss removed what could not follow you into glory. The angels watched as heaven began to breathe through you. Your words carried peace. Your presence brought calm. Your prayers carried authority. You no longer spoke from theory, but from transformation. This is the essence of revealed glory, when a soul becomes the message it once sought to understand. And now, everything makes sense. The delays that once broke your heart were divine pacing. The closed doors were protection from what would have diluted your destiny. Even the times you felt forgotten were moments heaven hid you, because glory must mature in secret before it can shine in public. You have become a mirror of divine endurance. The angels, who once guarded glory, now see it living in you. The same light they saw radiate from the throne now flickers in human form. That is why they watched. And that is why they were shocked, because they witnessed heaven revealed in flesh once again. Chosen one. This revelation is not just about you, it is about everything connected to you. The glory resting on you will heal others, awaken others, restore others. You were not refined for display, but for impact. The light you carry now is redemptive. It rebuilds what the darkness destroyed. So, when the next dawn breaks, remember this truth. Glory was not given to you, it was born through you. The angels understand that the story is reaching its crescendo. The heavens are preparing to testify. For what they now behold is rare a soul, once broken, now burning with divine brilliance. You are the revelation they waited to see. You are living proof that what was once fractured can shine again. Heaven gathers now. The moment that was foretold since your first yes has arrived. The witnesses who have watched your journey from the shadows of eternity assemble in radiant silence. The air is alive with reverence. The same angels who once marveled at your endurance now stand as witnesses to your reward. This is the culmination of it all, the unveiling of your crown. The angels remember every step that brought you here. They remember your trembling prayers, your long nights, your sacrifices that no one on earth celebrated. They recall how many times you chose faith when despair pressed heavily on your heart. They saw your obedience become a melody, your suffering become an offering. And now, in the light of eternity, all of it converges into glory. The heavens are not distant spectators, they are your eternal witnesses. They watched the battles that others couldn't see, the silent victories no one clapped for. They recorded each act of surrender, each moment of courage. Their wings tremble now as the King steps forward, holding the crown that was forged through your faith. It is not made of metal or gems, it is woven from endurance, humility, and love. The Apostle Paul described this moment in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing. Those words, once written to the faithful of old, now resound over you. The same promise that crowned the saints of the past now rests upon your head. The angels move closer. They bow, not in worship of you, but in reverence for what God has accomplished through you. They understand the cost of that crown, the tears, the silence, the relentless obedience. Each jewel represents a victory no one else could fight for you. Each beam of light reflects a battle won in secret. Heaven's applause is not noisy, it is holy. You may not see the crown in the mirror of this world, but your spirit feels its weight. It is the evidence of a life aligned with eternity. It radiates authority that even the darkness now recognizes. Every scar that once brought shame now glows with purpose. What was meant to destroy you has become the very metal from which your crown was formed. The angels are still watching. Their eyes are full of awe, not at perfection, but at perseverance. They saw weakness turn to strength, confusion turn to clarity, and pain turn to praise. They stand now as your witnesses, proclaiming to the cosmos that faith has triumphed once again through human fragility. Chosen one, heaven does not hand you this crown because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. Every moment you endured became an act of worship. Every time you rose again, heaven inscribed another victory beside your name. You have become what eternity calls a living testimony. Now, the light that crowns you becomes a torch. It will not fade, because it was forged from fire. The same angels who watched your struggle now guard your legacy. They will carry your story through generations, whispering to others who will rise after you. We saw one who refused to fall. The ceremony ends not with trumpets, but with stillness, a divine silence that acknowledges the magnitude of what has been completed. You stand crowned, radiant, eternal. Heaven has spoken, and now, chosen one, the story rests. The angels return to their posts, their wings folded in reverence, their records complete. Heaven's scroll bears your name not as a survivor, but as a finisher. You have walked through fire, silence, and shadow, and you have come forth shining. The crown placed upon your spirit is not the end of your calling, it is the beginning of a greater unfolding. You are living proof that divine purpose cannot be destroyed, only delayed until obedience awakens it. The heavens rejoice, and the earth will soon echo that same sound through you. You carry light, now steady, burning, unhidden. If these words have met you where your spirit needed them most, pause and breathe. Like this message, not for recognition, but as a sign that you agree with heaven's truth over your life. Share it with another warrior who may still be in their night season, reminding them dawn always comes. Leave a comment below right from your heart, or simply declare, I receive it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to stay within this flow of divine messages, because heaven is not finished speaking to you. Your crown gleams, your story continues.